sweet dear magical friends. Welcome to your weekly horoscope and taroscope with me, Natalie, spelled N-A-T-A-L-E-E. This is a week I am calling the Eclipse Hangover week, and we are just coming off a very, very intense lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and it will continue to play out over the next week predominantly, and then the week after that is going to still be playing out, but will be winding down, gearing up for the new moon. So this week is very much about the results, the most immediate results that you got from last week, and it will continue to... It's a gift that keeps on giving. Okay, there's going to be multiple moments that, over the coming weeks that we get more of what's come up as a theme, thematically for this lunar eclipse for all of us. So let's go ahead and dive in. Monday, the 8th of May. I am calling this, I'm doing a little bit of a different thing with what I'm titling the days this week, so let's just go with it. I'm calling it, Am I Meeting My Needs? Oh no, wait. I scratched these out like a couple different times. It's actually called I've Got to Honor My True Nature. Okay, but it's about meeting your needs, and it's about really honoring your true nature, because we have the Sun conjuncting Uranus in Taurus. We have the Moon in Sagittarius trining over to Jupiter in Aries, also squaring Neptune in Pisces. And then we do have the moon then entering and progressing the sign of Capricorn and making an opposition to the recently entered Venus in Cancer, but also at the same time trining the North Node in Taurus. So it's going to be, let's just bring this a little bit where we have the moon in Capricorn. Yay. Yeah, that moon in Capricorn will be opposing Venus, trining the North Node in Taurus. And it's the same day that we have, there's a lot of Taurus. The Taurus town is popping. They are always having parties. They are always doing something. There's always something. Taurus town's lit, okay? So Taurus town, we've got the Sun and Uranus conjunction happening. It goes perfect on Tuesday, but right before it hits perfection is when the transit's really like juiced up, okay? So let's start there. Sun, Uranus. If this is love for you, love means space, okay? Love means protecting each other's solitude. Love means, wanting the best for someone, no matter what that looks like or feels like for you personally. When they say, if you love someone, let them go, that kind of a thing. Sorry if that was loud. But that's really it, though. That's really, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to love someone so much that you would, let them go on to do something else without you. However, it's that kind of expression of love that we're going to either really appreciate, or that we will demand, or that we will really need on Monday the 8th, because there's going to be some part of us, some sort of solar expression that can only come forth when we have that space, when we have that freedom, when we have that autonomy. And it wants to push forward. It wants to shout it from the rooftops, let our freak flag fly. So, if it's a relationship, it's protecting each other's solitude, not feeling insecure. Okay, I don't want to say that. It's not feeling insecure. It's the goal of all of this isn't to never feel a negative feeling. It's to know what to do with them and to be responsible with them in the care and keeping of you as well as your life. Life takes so much effort. So, all of this takes effort. Everything is hard. Everything's difficult. Everything's really, really hard. So choose your hard. It's hard to stay the same. It's hard to change. What's worth it? You're worth it. You are worth it. So, this is also a leveling up of some sort. You want to evolve in the Taurus town in your life, or you want to discard it because it cannot hold space for you, because it cannot support your development, because it cannot support your need to be who you authentically are. That's why I'm calling today, I've got to honor my true nature, because the Sun is your self-expression. It is how everyone else comes to understand who you are, because that's what they see. That's what they feel. That's what they hear from you, see from you. That's what their experience is of you. People may not always remember what you say or what you write, or what you even do, but people will always 110% remember how you made them feel. Okay, so how is that will and that whatever's inside of you, how is that externalizing itself? Because it is lighting up that Taurus area of your life, and when it meets with Uranus, you need to express it. It needs to be true, it needs to be you, it needs to be authentic, and that will make you feel free. When you are being exactly who you are, letting that freak flag fly, and ideally being loved and appreciated. All of us would love to just be who we really are and have everyone around us just love it and encourage it and support it, let it, want it to grow. However, of course, that's not always the case. So that speaks to the fear. This is very Scorpio energy. A fear of abandonment, a fear of lack, a fear of loss, a fear of, and whatever. And whenever you're in that kind of energy, you don't want to make a decision and you don't want to take an action, because doing an action or doing something like that on that energy, you're pushing the button on something that's like, it's not great. Okay, it's not great. It's not going to lead to the ideal outcomes that you want, and you're probably doing something or saying something on that energy because you're trying to save something or maneuver something or get something to go your way, and that's pretty futile or futile. I don't know. Anyway, so it's going to be really that self-expression in that Taurus area of life. It's highly creative. And, we are here to be creators, and we are all creators. So whether you create from just a small amount of your conscious will, and that you've done some sort of subconscious work with yourself or energy work with yourself, or whether you are operating from, much more self-awareness, we're all still creating. We're all still creating our realities, whether we want to take responsibility for it or not. So this Sun Uranus, not everyone's going to elevate their relationships. For some people, this can be an ugly surprise, like a shock or a bolt of information, or someone else doing something that is like just disruptive and unsettling, or just disruptive and unsettling things like just occurring and happening, that kind of shake us up, and we may experience that in a negative way, but it's really trying to provoke the growth. It's trying to provoke the leveling up. So, anything that comes up on Monday that makes you feel uncomfortable, I would pay extra special attention to. I don't think it's going to go that way because you've already had so much energy in Taurus town. The Mercury retrograde could make it sour. Because we're the Mercury retrograde, we're all trying to go back to the Taurus town and pick up some clues along the way. So, part of this Scorpio eclipse over the weekend could have brought up a lot of, and leading up to last, what was Friday, leading up to last Friday could have really unearthed some, secrets, some kind of revelations, epiphanies, aha moments, enlightenments, and things like that. So that's part of what Mercury retrograde is doing, is digging up all the dirt, digging up all the receipts. So, Sun Uranus in the same area could make it quite shocking, or make it, and this Sun Uranus has been building, so it would have applied. It would have applied for the eclipse, okay? So, it continues. Taking this all in continues. Speaking of Mercury retrograde, there may be a ton of lag. This may be a podcast. It has just, I wanted to go live. I wanted to do this video. It's been a whole thing. So Mercury retrograde is retrogrady. So we're still on Monday. I'm trying to get through Monday for you guys. Okay, so that's your Sun Uranus. It should be bringing more things up to light, more receipts, and that's still just gonna be a signature for a little bit, especially while Mercury is still retrograde. So we won't have anywhere near the full picture until after next Sunday. So God willing, we'll make it there in this horoscope. Also happening on Monday, the moon in Sagittarius, like I said, trines Jupiter, optimistic, or could be the growth of knowledge that you were not asking for. Things you weren't trying to learn about or know. If you're a teenager and something's going on in the family you'd rather not deal with or learn about, but boom, it's right in front of you. You have to deal with it. You have to, learn about these issues, whatever it happens to be. Now the square to Neptune in Pisces is a little bit either idealizing, where we could be feeling like things are really maybe a lot better. Jupiter and Sagittarius, I will always tell you, be careful of overpromising and be careful of other people overpromising. So I could really see this, the fallout of the eclipse is going to be continuing this week. It's going to be the results this week. So I can see Monday being a little bit, I don't want to say glib, it could just be overpromising, promising the moon or going, bending over backwards to, just laying it on a little thick, or some kind of. Now, on the flip side, it could be laying it on really thick, but that square to Neptune could also be very dreamy, like it could be. So I would just is it ideal? Are you really excited about something? Because that, moon trine to Jupiter could be very optimistic, but it could also be overpromising. How are you feeling? How is it going? And try to do your best with your discernment there, but just keep it in mind. Now, when the moon moves into Capricorn and opposes Venus, that's going to be a moment on Monday where our values are going to be very sharply defined to ourselves, and we're going to really know where we stand with our own personal needs for love and affection and platonic quality friendship, as well as what is asked of us to supply in our world, and our more Capricorn is like the corporate area of life, and it's a little bit more public, or it's where you feel like it's like you have like a duty is what I want to say, a duty. So duty is going to stand right across the way from comforts and emotional needs, and they have to be reconciled. You have to balance them, like balancing your checkbook or balancing your bills. You have to balance them. You have to figure it out. So just like you would with your bills, if your expenses are bigger than your income, then you've got to figure that out, and you have to lower one column and heighten the other, or what, right? Same thing with all of the immaterial things in our lives, and the Cancer Capricorn axis is the axis for that, reconciling how long you work at work when you're at work and how much time you spend at home, the chores and errands that you're doing and your partner, and are you outsourcing it to house staff, all of those things. So you will know where you stand emotionally, because the circumstances of the day are really popping off. Now, I do like that it's an earth sign, so it is a little bit more tangible, and it is trining over to the North Node in the earth sign Taurus. So I feel like you'll know where you stand according to it's the sincerity. I'm always going to come back to that. It's like the sincerity. So the sincerity and the safety, because it's Cancer. So you're going to feel, because of the circumstances throughout the day as they're unfolding, you're going to feel an emotional response to them, and you'll know how you feel. You'll know where you stand with, and because they're earth signs, you want to look at consistency, you want to look at sincerity, you want to look at what's sustainable, what is bespoken of like the future in terms of sustainability. So it's not the future like Aquarius, like the Jetsons future. It's more the future of building this out of granite and laying a huge foundation, strong foundation, building it of granite, so that our children's 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 children can walk these halls someday. You know what I'm saying? It's more like that kind of future thinking. So that's a lot for Monday. Let's move on. Tuesday, the 9th of May. I'm calling this I humbly accept reconsiderations. We have the moon. Where are you, little moon? Moon at 17 degrees of Capricorn, trining over to Mercury retrograde in Taurus, and trining over to Uranus and the Sun in Taurus as well. Is that right? It will move throughout the day. I do this part as you see me like flipping around. I do all of this and write down my little aspects. Then I write them in a little list. I said that already. And then we come back and talk about it again here. So the moon in Capricorn making these trines to Mercury retrograde. Yeah, a little bit earlier and then a little bit later. So this means that we are basically reshaping the clay. If it's good, if you haven't, put in the oven already, you're reshaping the clay or you are reigniting creativity. Now listen, since December 2020, when Saturn and Jupiter both entered Aquarius in my personal second house and eighth house axis, I've learned my financial education just really skyrocketed. And I've really discovered that creativity is it's in absolutely everything. Everything human man has created, all of our little ideas and patterns and instruments and systems, all of that is so creative, and that includes the financial realm, that includes money and numbers, and it is verifiably its own magic, because I speak from personal experience, and I speak to hopefully inspire you guys to learn more about anything that just like tickles your fancy, because that's one of the ways that we are communicated to by our higher selves and spirit guides and ancestors. It's through curiosity, it's through desire, it's through these really strong pulls and feelings of motivation. So really pay attention when you're feeling those feelings, okay? So creating money, okay, creating money, creating value, but really like just creating it like out of thin air, that's like its own magic. And that's why I'm saying, because no one might think that, oh, Capricorn's not that creative, or Taurus is maybe you're either like the hard working Taurus, manual labor Taurus, or you're like the aesthetic web designer Taurus. There's no like in between. But no, this is definitely, if you have that kind of energy, you can really channel like the financial creativity and being like a manifester, and just like literally making money, creating value out of maybe something that's like not even I put this, like, of course I'm thinking about like investments and assets and and Bitcoin and like all these different things running through my mind, but reigniting creativity in terms of your material wealth, yes, but also reigniting creativity by picking up something that maybe you missed previously in the past, picking up, a little bit of a second chance energy type thing. This is what Mercury retrograde does, is we have to go back and we have to figure it out because we glazed over it last time, or we passed it over, passed it by. So this eclipse was really huge for bringing things up that we missed. Very, very important. And Tuesday could have you reconsidering something that's really like a valuable asset or a valuable idea, or just something that, and the fact that it trines over to that Sun Uranus, I'm not concerned, I'm just looking at this. It's just really interesting. I have my, anyway. So, and I say reshaping the clay because, not everything should be discarded. Not everything should be just like tossed out. Some things just need a little bit of a fresh paint, a fresh coat of paint, or, a little bit of innovation to update it to current standards, or who you are right now, what have you. So, this doesn't have to be a new clay. It could be reshaping the clay. That's why I say that. The square over to Chiron is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Oh, wait, I did it again. I crossed it off. I think I'm calling Tuesday. I can't escape it. I can't escape it. And that's because of the square to Chiron in Aries. You have to confront some wounding or embarrassment or fears of being brave, fears of being courageous, or um, fears of shining too bright. Maybe you have a fear of being the first person to do something, but deep down inside, you're so excited to be the first person to do something. And it fills you with so much excitement and wonder and awe and, curiosity. And it makes you curious, it makes you creative. And it's like, oh my God, I'm a pioneer. I get to be the first one. But like, you do also feel very insecure, or that you're just scared, just like a fear, an organic fear. But you can't escape it. Like, you have to confront it. You have to confront some kind of wounding, or something maybe very embarrassing. Maybe you're thinking about the last time you tried to pioneer something, or the last time you tried to do something. Guys, listen, it's whatever you want, whatever you really, really want. It's going to take you being able to confront failure and to cope with it and to move forward and to keep trying. And that's like such a personal journey. Not everyone has like some big community and some big loving family, and everybody that just wants to see them do so well, to support that, to support and say it's okay, you can do this, we want it. Not everybody has that. So whether you have that or not, even if you do have that, they're not going to do the work for you. They're not going to be the one taking the risk for you. So even that, if you have all of that and you still feel insecure, it's because you have to do the work yourself. You have to be the one inside of yourself to give yourself not the motivation, the encouragement to go for it, or to do something. But you've got to confront it. You've got to confront your own feeling. And when I say confront, I don't mean it aggressively. I mean it very kindly and compassionately. Watch my vlog, How to Heal and Move On. I go through that like step by step by step of like literally how to do that. Okay, so that is Tuesday. Wednesday, the 10th of May. I'm calling this day, I trust myself to know my bravery, to know where my bravery belongs. More on that bravery stuff. The moon in Capricorn is going to oppose Mars in Cancer, square Jupiter in Aries, and then they will ingress into the sign of Aquarius, where they will conjunct Pluto retrograde. And I wrote this down. Uranus will go into the 19th degree of Taurus until May the 28th. So if you guys like the degrees, there's that too. Okay, so the moon opposing Mars, that's going to be aggressive. You will be like interfacing deep, on a deep level. You will try to, even I've tried to run away from aspects like this. I've tried to run away from transits. I've tried to stay inside, put my phone away. It doesn't work. It just makes things really, really weird and synchronistic. And you're like, wow, this was even more so meant for me to like deal with and confront. And I resent this even more. So I wouldn't even try it. Go about your normal day in life, but just know that you will have to interface and meet like your expectations, like. And that's the thing for eclipses. I'm always going to tell you to just release your expectations and release the pressure on yourself for these few weeks. Just let yourself do it. Don't worry about anything. Take the load off. Just release yourself. Give yourself permission to relax and let everything just be as it is for a couple of weeks. And especially right now, give yourself to at least after Mercury stations direct this Sunday, before you're like, like really up and running. Okay. So, s'il vous plaît. I'm supposed to speak a different language. Oh. Okay, I don't know what this has been, but I've been like really into honey, like eating honeycomb. This is what I've been like chomping down. I don't know if you can see it. You can see the parts that I've already eaten. You can actually, you can eat and consume the honeycomb and eat it. Like the wax is like really good for you. So I've been like just replacing the sugar. Actually, I did have donuts recently, but we're doing the best we can. But yeah, so I've just been sort of like, I don't know. I've been in a weird thing. Anyway, okay, so back to Wednesday. Trusting yourself to know where your bravery goes. You've got the circumstances still pulling you into these public arenas or public spaces, or the expectations of you. So even though I'm telling you during these eclipse windows to, release yourself of these expectations and of the pressures, other people are just going about business as usual, and they still expect things of you, and they still have demands to make on you. And so, that's going to really rile you up. That is definitely going to grind your gears. It's going to get your goat. That Mars in Cancer has that's bam bam. Okay. Mars is bam bam. And Mars in Cancer, I told you, is the like emotional terrorist, is the emotional hijacker, where whatever they say or whatever is going on, they're just going to make themselves upset and just be outraged. And this is the thing, like, you don't ever think about Amber Heard, okay? One of the most famous Taurus women, right? Okay, doesn't matter how well you pin her down. What did you do with the money? Doesn't matter that you've got the proof. Doesn't matter. She will just say, I do not agree with that characterization, with your characterization of that. That is all that these people are going to say. So you are wasting your breath you're wasting your life, you're wasting your energy. If you know something, let that be enough. Let that be, especially if there's receipts, especially if there's proof, especially if there are confessions. But there may be confessions and then trying to, like a PR crisis cleanup type of a thing that people are going to try to salvage, so be careful, be very, very careful, really tune into your intuition. How do you feel about it? You can ask your body, how do I feel about this? And then see if you feel like a gross feeling in your gut, or if you feel a pain somewhere in your body, anything like that. Ask yourself. So this, Mars in Cancer is going to just be bam bam about some need that it has, but the circumstances are just, they're going to show you exactly what comes up against that need, or something else that you're trying to do. So it'll be a little bit inflaming. You want to take your kid and take them to something they want to do, and you are going to try to do it on your lunch break and take a little bit of a longer lunch, but traffic is just like terrible, and you thought, oh my god, I should have paid for the toll pass thing, and I wouldn't have been sitting here on the street with the lights. I could have been on the going fast, and I should have done this or that. It's something, could be something like that. Could also be in relationships. So heads up there. Square to Jupiter, that's a hard shift. So this is actually kind of T-square-ish. All right, so here we've got the cardinal energies just duking it out. And they all want to win. They all have a say of the direction that things are going in. So when you have cardinal energies conflicting, that's what it is. We don't agree on the direction. We don't agree on the what. And when everything else is happening, it's like, okay, well, we agree on the what, but not the how. So at least we're on one same page, but we got to get ourselves on the whole same page. So I feel like there might be some kind of hard pivot Wednesday where you have to either act faster or something will happen faster. When the moon ingresses into Aquarius, it's a different vibe, because that's going to be coming up and do a conjunction with Pluto, and that's always gnarly. Goodness gracious. So that conjunction with Pluto, and that's the thing with eclipses, and especially this past one that we had, the lunar eclipse, is that you don't go back. You can never go back to the way things were before. You can never unknow something. You can never unsee something or unhear something. You just can't. With eclipses, a door closes firmly, quite firmly. Even if you are leveling something up, even if you like that could still just be getting closer with someone, becoming more intimate, and then the doors closed on that moment of anonymity. The door closes forever on that previous anonymity where you both were sort of like not knowing each other. Now you're intimate. Now you do have access to each other's souls, you know? So it doesn't have to be, you know, doom and gloom type of a, that's not what we do here. Okay, now when the moon meets up with Pluto retrograde, that's much more insight into how the future normal will look, okay? And I'm not talking about the future normal for you like the Jetsons. I'm talking about the future normal for you in terms of this this little taste of Pluto and Aquarius, these short few months that this is happening. They'll go back into Capricorn, but in 2024 they'll be in Aquarius. Pluto will be in Aquarius. So these few short little months is just jam-packed with like future. Okay. And then Uranus moving out of the 18th degree. So anyone that has a planet or point around these 18 degree of fixed signs or the earth signs. Wow. Okay, so until May the 28th. So you're, and it's also, I'm not going to get into the decans, but it's also reaching, you're approaching a fullness of another lesson. All this stuff happens in cycles and layers, and they're lessons and rewards. You're in a learning cycle. Maybe it's a pain cycle, maybe it's not. You don't have to be in a pain cycle to learn the lesson. You can be in a reward cycle and learn lessons. We always have the free will choice to choose. Just so happens that we do learn the best through pain. Unless we choose to want to be a victim, then we don't. Then we just stay. We just stay there, like Hitler, and he went to prison because he tried and he failed already. He tried once, didn't get it, didn't do it right, so he went to prison. And then his instead of really internalizing the lessons that he was supposed to learn, he just chose a different thing, and he chose to really inflame his feelings of persecution, his victimhood. And he wrote Mein Kampf, my struggle, oh my God, you know, and he just took it out on the Jewish people and went out to start World War II. Whereas, you know, someone else in a similar position in the hospital, Roosevelt, went on to do something totally different. So when you are, we were just talking about this on Patreon. So if you are, you know, in like in a forced, I don't want to say forced quarantine and like really traumatize any, re-traumatize anyone, but if you are in some kind of like psychological forced quarantine, because it's Pluto and it's the subconscious mind. So if you're dealing with something, just dealing with something, and you're like forced to deal with it, think about that you can choose to be Roosevelt and you can get out of your infirmary and go do great things, or you can be Hitler and you can enhance and expand your feelings of victimhood and persecution and ego. You know, it's a terrible operating ego, and then you're going to project that, all of that, onto other people, onto somebody else, and it's not right. So you know, you're going to get the insight. So what you see and then what you do with what you see is your free will choice. And I would also really recommend, especially because we're starting the week with Sun Uranus, give people as much space as you both need, and tell yourself that you're loving them, that is an act of love, to let them go deal with something on their own. Because just like, I think that trial, that Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, was such an epic moment in life. So, but like, you know what I mean? You just cannot, you will be tempted. If you're tempted to just stay arguing with someone, that's you. That's a you issue. Because it's your responsibility to rip yourself away and have a boundary and put that up and let someone figure something out. And if they know how to say the right things that will get you to defend yourself, or get you to defend an idea, or get you to argue, or get you to retort back, or, you know, that's them. That's who they are. That's not who you are. I repeat, what other people say about you, especially, that's who they are. And if they're instigating, if they're, you know, pushing buttons, because Pluto stuff is always very subterranean, it's always very compulsive, deeply, deeply psychological. So just remember that you're doing everyone a favor, you're doing yourself a favor, doing them a favor. It's an act of love to let someone figure something out on their own. Okay. On the 11th of May, on Thursday, I'm calling it, I made this mistake before and don't want to make it with you. The moon is in Aquarius and they will make two squares. So Thursday is going to be a little bit crunchy with these two lunar squares. Squares to the north and south node, as well as a square to Chiron. Excuse me, Mercury. Earlier it's going to be Mercury, and then it's going to, yeah. So earlier, because the nodes are in the early degrees. So the squares to the north and south node. You have a choice here. The moon is literally in between these 2 points. North, south. Actually, I should say north, south. The north node is what we're trying to really grow into, and the south node is what we are either picking up from a past lifetime and as a positive, or we're trying to flush something out of our systems that we carried over from the past lifetime. If you have an issue with jealousy or fears or whatever, right? So this is the moment that you will be triggered to be very jealous, for instance, or you can feel the jealous feeling come up, release it, and choose to be confident and supportive, or whatever the ugly feeling is. It's going to bring up something like something kind of difficult. So this can, because of whatever this happens to be, whether this is if it's financial, there may be something kind of dramatic there. If this is happening in your relationship houses, this may be a break of some kind or a decision to make, or even like in a momentary context, a decision to make. The square to Mercury retrograde, be very careful with what you say. I expect a lot of slips up until Mercury stations direct. And this is also Mercury retrograde. It doesn't just make us slip up in the moment, it also brings up past stuff that we didn't get or that we missed, or slip ups or things people said, or things whatever happened in the shadows, whatever, and that it brings that thing up or that situation up to deal with. So there can be those things to come back up, and including conversations. So if you needed to have a conversation and didn't have it, or if you had the conversation and it didn't go well, or it did go well, whatever happened with it, you may have to revisit that again and work through some kind of difficulty. Try to get this all on your terms if you cannot delay it until after Mercury goes direct, okay? Because there still may be more things coming to light. And yes, that's Thursday. Friday, the 12th of May, we have the quarter moon in Aquarius squaring over to Uranus in Taurus, as well as sextiling Chiron and Jupiter in Aries. We also have Mercury retrograde in Taurus, sextiling Saturn in Pisces and Venus in Cancer. Wow. We are on the struggle bus communicating right now, you guys. Okay, so the quarter moon, it's acceptance. I'm calling this day, I see what I'm missing out on and don't want to miss out anymore. It's accepting the reality. It's accepting things, okay? It's a big acceptance. At the first quarter moon, there are obstacles that you are meant to push through and figure out a way around. But at the closing quarter, it's more about taking in everything that happened over the lunar eclipse over this past weekend and what continues to play out over this week. And by the time you get to Friday, accepting what you're shown, what people are telling you about themselves and the situation, and just financial realities, whatever happens to be, but just acceptance generally overall. And the square to Uranus, that's like a difficult reconciling what you need to be balanced. So you'll feel, and the circumstances will show you what's out of balance, and it'll show you like where, I feel like this is more like an acceptance of where you can not grow in a, I don't know, a job, a career, or in like something like where you cannot, um, or this could even be like maybe some person is really stubborn and you're finally accepting like they're just not going to grow, or someone is really, whatever it happens to be, but they're that way, and it may be difficult to reconcile that, like, oh man, like I really need, for this friendship, I really need you to be, more mature. Or I really need you to be a better listener, or I need you to be a better talker, or I need you, whatever happens, I don't know, whatever it is, you need that, but it's not happening, and it's not giving you any indication that it will change. In fact, it could actually show you to be a little bit erratic or unpredictable, or just not sustainable. So you really do want to care about consistency and what you can kind of trust and over time, but this is going to show you on Friday that what's not that. At the best, it could be a breakthrough moment for, you know, someone or something to change for the positive and to become what you need to be balanced, or you to meet the situation and level up and step into what you need to answer these needs. But it will require accepting, a big level of acceptance, and releasing, letting go, probably of a part of your personality, but also overcoming some major blockages. So that's kind of big. The sextile to Chiron and Jupiter, that's the opportunity to heal any doubts or fears of trusting yourself. So if you are saying goodbye to something or someone, you may feel like a little bit insecure about it or wounded, or if you are, being dumped or let go or something, you definitely will be feeling, rejected and wounded. But the challenge in that sense would be to overcome the fears of like what happens next, who's going to love me, or where am I going to go, or where am I going to live, where am I going to work, how am I going to make money. You will have to overcome those fears and be brave and really stand on your own 2 feet and have a level of acceptance of, well, this is it, I can't grow anymore, and this organization or this person I love, they deserve to, have what they deserve. They deserve someone that can grow with them, or they deserve, someone that can be there. Maybe someone died in your life and you just cannot be a good friend. You cannot be a good spouse. You cannot be a good parent. And you may, accept like, I need to deal with this. I need to work on this. I'm not good to anyone right now. I just can't do it. So, there is also Mercury retrograde on Friday, sextiling Saturn in Pisces, as well as Venus in Cancer. So conversations are, opening, closing conversations. You want to focus on the maturity and take great care. So there could be, again, things coming up from the past that you are meant to reconcile, that you want to meet them with maturity and grace and stability. Again, apologies for the weird lag. It's Mercury retrograde. Even more so acting up. So that's basically Friday. I see what I'm missing out on and don't want to miss out anymore. This is the saddest thing to me, is that we all have these karmic things, these energetic things to work out. And when we don't give it an honest, sincere effort, not trying to manipulate someone's view of us and try to come out looking better, or trying to salvage our ego or pride or reputation, or getting the credit for being this way or that way, or getting the trying to get the credit for something, it just takes who you are away from you. You don't get the life experience that you could have, a beautiful life, because you're losing it. You're losing time and energy and relationships and opportunities. You're losing it to your shadow. You're losing it to the unhealed parts of yourself. You're losing it to the parts of you that want to be ignorant and egotistical and have a lot of, toxic ego and pride. So but that's for if you don't do any of this stuff. That's not you guys. You guys are here and you're doing the work. But you know, that's one of the acceptance things on Friday as well, because people will die on that hill. People, you saw it already on the eclipse was such a crazy weekend. It was so busy. I was putting out fires left and right, and it was just, I already had things that I had planned to do, like fun, great things I had planned to do, and then it was like all this other stuff just like coming in. I'm like, oh my God, you know. So we already saw, we're all eclipse hungover this week. Energetically, you already saw a bunch of things hitting the fan last week leading into this past weekend, and you know, we're dealing with it. It's rolling out this week. It's still rolling. We're still rolling with it. So, you know, for better or for worse, and you know, these conversations gotta come up, it gotta be talked about. Okay, that's Friday. I was on Saturday that whole time. Anyway, now we're in Saturday, the 13th of May. I'm calling it, did you get enough love from me today? It's a great question to ask. Did you get enough love from me today? You've got the moon entering Pisces and conjuncting Saturn. Circumstances are asking you to deal with the reality. Got to deal with it. There it is. Trining over to Venus in Cancer with pleasure. So there is something really nice and pleasurable. Really, really sweet. I really like Saturday a lot. It's probably like one of my favorite days this week. I like Sun, I like Uranus, but I'm like, you know, Uranian, so you know, there that is. But Venus will trine Saturn. This is maturing love. This is appreciating assets. This is deepening feelings for someone. This is making commitments, or at least it's in the air. Feeling like you want to make a commitment. Feeling like something is growing in the right direction. Feeling like this is strong and stable and that it can last the test of time. That's Venus, Saturn. This can, unless it's a hard aspect, but it's like this can stand the test of time. I can trust in this. I can really, you know, put into this. This is building the granite cathedral on a wonderful foundation for the children's children to walk through, you know. So, and it's emotional, it's romantic, it's deeply romantic. So, you know, if you want to get creative or romantic, I like Saturday. That's really lovely, very lovely. Then on Sunday, the 14th of May, I'm calling it, I wish I had asked for this sooner, but I'm moving forward. Or I wish I asked this sooner, but I'm moving forward. That Pisces moon will trine over to Mars in Cancer. That's emotional turn-ons. That could be very, very fun and flirty and like soulfully sexy. Very nice. Conjuncting Neptune in Pisces, compassion, deep, the deepest of feelings. Pisces is as deep as you go. Deep, deep, deep feelings. And Mercury stations direct, hallelujah, at 5 degrees of Taurus. Now we know. Or we will know very soon, finally. We're processing all that we've found out over the last few weeks. So when a planet stations, you know, direct or retrograde, it's a quite a momentous event, and it's strong. So there may be some, you know, pivotal discussions or conversations or revelations that kind of come out. What's it? On Sunday, around Sunday. Honey over here. Honey bunny. Honey. So that's your week. Let's go ahead and open up with the tarot. Okay, let's take a look. What are the messages that I am here to deliver to those watching at home? You guys, I forget that you guys can watch this on like your TV screens, and it just trips me out because you guys like post and you send me things, and it just like, I'm like, oh my God. Glad I like kind of, you know, put myself together a little bit. Okay, what's going on? What is the message? Thank you. I'm getting Darla and Alfalfa from the Little Rascals when he sings, "You are 𝚃𝚑𝚎𝚕𝚒. Okay. The Fool is your first card out. This is like, this is magical. This is everything that we discussed in terms of like trusting yourself to be brave, trusting yourself to be the pioneer, trusting yourself to be the first one or to break new ground. Okay, so this is the spirit. This is the spirit before stepping down into a physical body, into physical manifestation. And he's excited. He's like, I'm getting a body. When I do too much astral traveling, I have to stop because I try to grab stuff. I try to pick stuff up. I try to like put my, I try to like engage with the environment, and I can't. Like a ghost, I go right through it. I don't hit it. I go to touch something or pick something up, and I go right through it. I try to swim, and there's nothing. There's nothing. And so I just miss having my body. So it's like you're in spirit form, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna get a body. I'm gonna get I'm gonna feel, like, wow. And this little dog, your little, faithful little friend there is like, whoa, hey, let's think twice now, because you're going to forget how magical you are when you got that body. You're going to have amnesia. You're going to forget everything. So just like appreciate a moment of reflection before you take the dive. Okay. Now, the sun, this is like a mini tarot talk. We have 3 subclubs over on Patreon. So if you like all of this, join us over there, and it's magical and wonderful, and we're a magical little community. So the sun never reaches the zenith, and it's never totally up top. It's always going to be rising, because you're always learning. You always want that empty cup. Okay? So that's what this sort of, there's more. I'm not going to get into the whole symbolism, but there's a lot more. So this is about, you're about to step down into a like almost like a new body. You're about to step down into a new form, into a new structure. Maybe that's a new job, a new relationship, a new something. And you have this is why everyone loves the Fool card, is because you are freaking blessed. You are blessed. Okay, there's like this aura, this magical aura. We did aura training with one of my hierophants this past week. He grew up seeing auras like as a little child. Like he says, like people running back and forth, like, like there's like a house party or something, and he saw like all the waves, all the colors and everything. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, and it was on the eclipse. I'm like, let's do something a little special for the eclipse for my hierophant. So we did a little bit of aura training. Anyway, so you have this little auric glow around you where you have like the insulational protection of universe when you step down. It's weird. Okay, let's keep going. Tell me more about this message that I'm here. Oh my God. Okay, so it's either a great idea that's like lightning speed, or conversations, very fast moving conversations. This is like lickety split. Okay, a situation moves forward very quickly. Oh, 7 of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. But someone in the situation has been just like planting and plowing and, like really investing into something. And this is a very solid person. Look at them. They look pretty solid. They're very solid. Also financially solid. They're very wise financially, but a very cautious person. This is a very cautious person, but they take great care. They take great care of what they care about. They take care of what they love. They take care of, all of their assets and their investments and what they consider to be valuable. They're taking really good care, and they're at a point where they are assessing something. They're like, I've put a lot of effort into this, and I wonder if I should I cash out now, or should I keep investing into this? What's the return on investment? We're going to do one more position. Okay. Four of Cups. Well, there's an offer of sentiment, but honestly, look at that apathy. Look at that. Oh wait. See, it doesn't look. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to hold it that way. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, this honestly, there's so much excitement that you really do want to go towards, you know, and also that's why I say with eclipse seasons twice a year, 2020 had 3 eclipse seasons instead of just 2, the normal 2 per year, because of course it did. That's why I say to just take all the pressure off and take off all the expectations. You don't have to make any big decisions. You just, right? Because there's going to be more, there's always like a second act, you know, to eclipses. So you just want to kind of, so I kind of like that there's a little bit of apathy. It's a little bit like slow your roll, just a very little bit, you know, the timing's going to line up, the stars will align, and then everything will move forward. Okay. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Wands, but it's like it'll move, but like think about it. You're watching, whenever you watch this, you've already been through the eclipse, the lunar eclipse. What came up? You know, things that come up, you need to know. And you wouldn't want to move forward without having known those things first. So you want to make sure that you're grateful for, you know, Mercury retrogrades in that sense, because it's like, well, that's looking out for me. This was slowed down. This process was slowed down so that I could learn these things and I could get the benefit of that knowledge, because moving forward, I'm going to make it better for me because now I know. Ace of Wands, bottom of the deck. 10 of Cups. Ooh, and the Ace of Cups. Look at this relation. It's a beautiful relationship. Doesn't have to be romantic. Can be platonic. Can be business. Can be what have you. But it's a beautiful it's a new relationship, new start, fresh beginnings. You've got deep emotions, and you also have entrepreneurial success indicated here. So this can be like very overwhelmingly positive. Now, the 10 of Cups is very rare and very special. You have the 4 suits, the cups, the wands, the swords, and the cups, and the pentacles, of course. And there's 10 of each. So there's only 4 10s. And this is the relationship suit. And when you reach the 10, you can only get there through getting to the 9 of Cups first. And the 9 of Cups is like a solitary, the man, the dude's there. He's just sitting there like, you know, and he's happy as a clam, all alone. You're never alone. You're always with yourself. And this is what I love about Aries, okay? Aries is like, you're your own best friend. And when you grow up very solitary, or you grow up making yourself your own best friend, I really feel like this is that's such like a writer energy. It's just having such a live imagination where I could be waiting in line. I could be doing anywhere in the world. I could be in a cell. I could be locked in a cave for 30. I'd be happy as a clam because I just like go into my imagination, and that world is so much more real. Okay, that's where I do, that's like, you can do world building, you don't have to, but you know, it's just so full and vivid and rich, you know. But it's like, that's me at a desk. To everyone else, I'd probably just look like, you know, writing or typing or whatever. But you know, to me, it's I'm excited about the ideas I have. I'm passionate about my characters, and I'm very like maneuvering and calculating with what I'm doing to them, where I'm putting them, and what's going on with them, and what I want them to learn, and how I want them to interact. Like, it's like the best feeling ever. It really is wonderful. Even when I'm frustrated, because of course it gets really frustrating, and it's like, you know, trying to like get something or like figure something out writing wise, like I'm very like, you know, but I just love it. I love it. Anyway, but for like, that's my 9 of Cups, is like, you know, reaching your own personal happiness first. You need to know how to do that. You need to know how to be alone with yourself and really authentically, honestly, be sincere about it. Be honest with yourself. Happy, pleased, satisfied. And that makes you the perfect partner. That makes you really, then the 10, that's what, then you get to the 10 of Cups, where you get to have that really ideal relationship. But only because you've done your own thing first. You're a complete, whole, finished little person. And then you get to be with another whole, finished little person. So it looks like there's a new relationship, or there's a reinvigoration, or there's something starting up with two very complete people. Like they're very emotionally complete, like they fill their own cup, and they look to be passionate about, I don't know, like a business idea or some kind of something. Let's open this up. Let's take a look. Let's start with the full energy. Tell us more. What do I need to tell everyone here? What message am I here to deliver about this new start? Goodness gracious, it looks extremely successful and we love it. The Chariot, to clarify. So this could actually be a new path that unrolls very, this could be something ambitious. You don't have to be the ambitious like person. This could be something that just, there are two major arcana. So the two major arcana means that they are fated. This is something that was orchestrated with like the right timing, and the stars really had to align. Everything had to, you know, be ready. And it's like, so if this is an idea, you had to wait and maybe be frustrated until you got like the release, like the creative release, where you're like, oh, that's the thing, like right there, I'm gonna do that. That's the answer to my writing problem, or you know, whatever it was. So it looks wildly successful though. This is something that's going to take you in a very like applauded direction. Like look at how like decorated he is, and he's got the canopy of the star. It's going on your own inspiration. But the key to unlocking all the positive energy to this is to know yourself the very best. The better you know yourself, the better this will all go. Let's take a look at the Knight of Swords. Thank you. Ooh. Okay. The High Priestess. There's a lot going on inside. And there can be a lot going on with someone that knows, like, I don't want to say they know everything. They know the inner workings of something. They either know the inner workings of a corporation, a company, or, you know, the office. They know all the office dramas, or they know all of, you know, they have that inside, you know, maybe they're in the finance department of something. They know how the company and the operations are really run. Or this is someone that knows all the friend dynamics and the friend group. Or this is someone that just, they have access to some kind of secret information, or they could be intuitive, but it's with this, it could just simply be someone that just knows a lot, like, of that. But like I said, it could also be that your intuition, you're getting your own psychic downloads about stuff, and it could be, you could be, if this is more spiritual, then someone's getting rapid fire downloads from source. Okay, let's take a look at this person. It's like, what do I do about this? I invest so much into it. The Popper is Justice. You have a lot of major arcanas. You have the Strength, the Moon, Death, holy moly, Masacholi, and the Six of Pentacles. So honestly, it looks like whatever the right thing is to do is going to win out. So it's like whatever was, so it's almost like it doesn't become about how much you put into it anymore. It becomes more and more about like the right thing. You know, what feels good. What the Victorians have this saying, and they put it like on little things and things. It's called, "It is well with my soul." So it'd be on a mug or something. It is well with my soul. So it becomes more about moving forward in a way that sits well with you equally. I can move forward like this because it sits well with my soul. The hard part is there's something that got a little bit corrupted. That's what justice means, that there was injustice. You know, there's not really, okay, technically justice cannot really be served, because justice would be if the bad thing never happened in the first place. That's real justice. The next best thing that we try for is accountability. So I don't know your situation. Can you really make something right, or can you just hold someone accountable and yourself accountable if that's the case? There seems, like I said, to be something kind of corrupted. Something got a little bit corrupted with, like, I don't know if someone took advantage of your generosity, or you have to pull back some generosity, or pull back some resources, or pull back an extension. But it looks that's something that's confusing for you. It's confusing for you or someone that you are connected to in this. It's confusing to figure that out. It's confusing. You ask yourself the question, you might not know. You might not know what you think. You might not know, like, oh, did I give too much? Did I not give enough? And the thing might be really clear and obvious, maybe to somebody else. It might take you a while, or this person, this King of Pentacles, it might take them a while to figure out that, to see how clear it is, because there's like a personal thing here. There's like an emotional, personal thing going on. So they're a little bit too close. They're normally, like I was picking up, very rational or cautious. They're normally like that, but this might be a little bit personal or something that can kind of skew their judgment. But it looks like they're going to lean more and more into, like, well, what's the right thing to do? What sits well with my soul? So that's what I'm going to give you guys, because this looks hard, like you're dealing with it. I'm like, oh my God. You know, it's very, very difficult. So what sits well with your soul? That'll be the right answer. Let's take a look at the Four of Cups. Okay, I'm getting something else here. I'm hearing a lot of, like, your thoughts are very much like overlapping, like very overlapping. So you've invested a lot into something. You built it up. You put a lot into it. And you're going to make a judgment call on it. It definitely looks like a financial thing too. And there may be issues with, it's like issues with, I don't know if this is like financial boundaries or values or trades or something like that, but oh, that's what it was. So something's going to come up. The moon is about, well, it's about a lot of things, but it's about cycles, and it's about fears, and it has a lot to do with the moonlight, being able to be guided by the moonlight, your intuition. So it looks like there's something sort of corrupted with it. That's what's kind of making this difficult. It's a little bit, you're more personally involved with this. It's a little bit difficult. This is weird. Sometimes when I'm like overtired or like really, really tired, it affects my thinking, but it also affects my channeling. And it's like in the same way, but different. So like when I'm channeling, I get like one thing at a time. And it happens differently. So, like, okay, I'll explain that later. Anyway, let's take a look at your Four of Cups. Tell me about the Four of Cups for people, anything else that, oh my God. Okay. And you have the Star. For me as a reader, the Star and the Chariot and the Star and the Hermit come up a lot together. The Chariot, because it's his banner. That blue with the stars, that's the I like to call her like the alien that just, she was made of stars, like these stars that you see here. And as the stars fall down to earth, they just form a human being, and that's her. So There's healing, there's meditation. So it looks like there's someone may extend, you know, like an offer or reach out to you or someone, but they will sort of be in meditation, or they'll be thinking, or they'll be healing, or they'll be, you know, so if you're reaching out to someone and they're not getting back to you, they're healing, let them heal, give them space. If people are trying to get to you, do not feel bad about not answering them. Do not feel bad about asking for space. Can you please hold space for me and give me a few days? Or, kind of demand that privacy and that alone time. You've got to do what you got to do. And that's really healing and meditative. That's kind of like exactly what you need. You might even just need more time to be alone to do your greatest thinking, or, you know what I'm saying, to kind of process. Especially if you have trouble sleeping at night, you haven't given yourself any meditation time during the day, or not enough. So, because you're trying to process at night. Speaking of the Nine of Cups, look at this is him. This is like he's a little bit tipsy looking, but this is the happy, self-happy first. So this looks overall extremely positive and extremely exciting. You guys know I am not this timing psychic, so, you know, we're watching this now, but I get very varied feedback on when my readings come to pass. So, like, there's people that book with me my repeat people book with me very regularly, because it's like the readings happen really fast. And then some others are a little bit more spread out because it happens over a longer, deeper, it's like a deeper thing. Okay, so what's the guidance? The consigliere sessions are for basically anything. So if you don't know, if you want to book with me and you don't know anything, that's okay. I would book the consigliere session. Even if you book the psychic tarot reading, that's okay. But the psychic tarot reading is for a tarot reading just like this, and I psychically channel for you, and you send me your infos, and that's when I do my thing. It's live, it's on Zoom, you get the recording email to you to keep forever and ever and always. I also keep, this is so weird of me, but I also keep a copy of your reading, and there is a charge to re-download it after a certain amount of time. They're on like this, I love my hard drives, but like my Lissy hard drives. But yeah, they are absolutely precious. And this is the last week of Mercury retrograde, so it's a wonderful time for you guys to go back and re-watch your old readings with me, re-watch your old readings with your other favorite psychics and tarot readers and astrologers, and just do a nice little perspectiving, because there's always stuff that you miss when you're like live in the moment in your reading, and then when you do reflect, you're like, wow. Or something might sound or look a little bit different at the you moment, you now, looking back at the previous you when you were going through whatever that was. Let's take a look. Any guidance? That's a lot of guidance. Ooh, bottom of the deck, expect powerful change. This eclipse that we're in, it is the end of the April solar eclipse, and so this is like new moon eclipses. That's what that was. Expect powerful change. It's happening. Powerful change. It is happening. And then you've got poppers. We're gonna breeze through these. Balance spirituality and practicality. So if you're not getting enough time to do your processing, or if you are too much inside and alone, you need to be out doing things and, you know, clean your floors and pay your bills and that kind of thing. You also have confidence is your key to success. Being confident, giving yourself permission, letting yourself really be brave. Like giving yourself permission to be brave. Don't feel like, oh, it's not, it's too new or it's too different. I don't know, whatever. But like confidence is your key to success. You know, own your energy and move forward with confidence, but also with the confidence of the faith as well. Your hard work is paying off. You've been committed to something, you've been doing something, you've been building something up within yourself. Okay, it's never really about, so for instance, getting to be a better writer, learning things, applying things. It's the process. It's becoming that version of myself. That's the greatest writer ever, right? And getting better and better, always striving, but it's the process that's doing it. It's the process that counts towards something. It's going through the lessons, it's going through the course, it's having the epiphanies, it's going through it, and in the end you become the person that can write that great script. You become the person that can do that big great thing. But it's the becoming part that really you make your, what's that expression, you make your metal, you make your bones. That's the where it's like you grow into it. And sometimes it happens kind of in reverse, where you have like a big responsibility, or let's say that you just or a different example, let's say you're like, boom, you have a family, and you're like, I can't have a family and pay a mortgage and work 3 jobs, and like, but you rise to the level to meet it, so that none of that gets any easier. You just get better at it. You become the person that can do all that stuff. You know, but it's you can't at any part just like give up and just go do something else. Like, that's not an option. You just have to keep pushing forward, because that's part of the becoming process. So I'm picking that up, like your hard work, you've been becoming this entire time. You can't see or appreciate your own growth unless you have a reading with me and we talk about it. But you can't put this, or this reading might help a little bit, but like, you are. So be proud of yourself. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Hard work's paying off. There's 3 more. Oh my God, you are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. Virgos are like the most sweetest and most servient, wanting to help out, and just all they want is like a thank you, you know, and they're just like, you are good enough, Virgos, right? So that's coming through, you know, message for you guys, you know, whether you're a Virgo or not, but like, yes, you are good enough. Let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself be happy. Let yourself just enjoy it. You're good enough for all the great, nice things that you have. You earned it. And even if you didn't earn it, you deserve it, because you're, you know, you have a kind heart, or you're a gentle soul, or you treat people with kindness and respect. Okay, so you are good enough. The answers you need are coming. Oh my God, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more receipts. There's gonna be more spillages. There's gonna be more. Maybe you get the other side of the story or something, or you get the receipts, like the physical receipts, or you get like, you know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be more coming in. The answers you need are coming. Let's see, last one. Communication is key. This is the other Gemini moon one. That's so funny. Communication is key. So there could be an uptick in communication, psychic communications, like telepathy, or you know, this other person. This is more of the overall, so I feel like, you know, most of this is going to be very like personally centered in what you are sort of assessing in your life this week. Remember, take all the pressure off, release yourself of the expectations, and just pay attention. That's all you have to do, and process the feelings as they're coming up, and meet everything that you're meeting, you know, head on, but not like with fear, with bravery and faith and confidence in your own heart and kindness. So with all the Chiron stuff this week, it's not a lot, but like, it's there. With the Chiron stuff this week, you know, the insecurities and the feelings are going to come up. It's not about not feeling them. It's about what you're doing with the feelings when they come up. Again, my vlog, it's free. I made this one free on YouTube. How to Heal and Move On goes through that step by step of what to do with the feelings when they come up, and how to literally heal them and literally move on from them. Yeah, that's there. And if there's fears of what other people think, what other people say and do and think, that's who they are. That's who they are. That's not who you are. What you say and what you do, that's who you are. And you have 100% control of that. What other people say, you don't have control over that, because it's not you. That's who they are. So you could be people, we've seen it throughout history, people that have tried to be the most perfect whatevers. And there's still always something. There's still going to be some kind of Amber Heard. There's still going to be something that, you know, knocks at it or something. But of course there is, because there's people that are going to choose to be Mein Kampf. They're going to choose to be Hitler and persecution complex in prison. And that's their choice, because that's who they are. They don't have to make that choice, but it's their free will to do that. That's what's beautiful about this ghetto of a planet. Okay, that's the beautiful thing, is the free will. So try to remember that, and try not to let any of that stuff bother you. That's you need a boundary. You need like an insulated, we'll go into that if you need a reading, but you need to insulate yourself against that stuff. Have a really strong boundary, and really know that in the deepness of your bones, that that's who they are. What other people say about you, if it's not true, that's who they are. If it's not true about you, then you know, it just, goes right by you. I love you guys. Take very good care. I will check in on you guys next time. Until that time, my loves, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings.